we look at the IMI, the puzzle of the IMI has three important components, as we already have heard. I think for us as scientists, it is extremely important that we try to identify a common goal for our work. We cannot expect clinical scientists to have a burning interest in developing faster tools for drug development. So I think this is the key of our work, that we identify a common goal that we share with the EU and the IMI joint undertaking and the academia and SMEs as well. In the case of safety, our interest from the EFPA is to answer the question, is the compound safe in man, and can we select better follow-up compounds? And we are investing about 18 million euro in getting an answer to this question. The question for the IMI joint undertaking is, how can we improve the European drug R&D? And there is a considerable investment from this partner. And the question the academics ask is, how can we improve the diagnosis of drug-induced injury? How can we improve the monitoring of diseases? And how can we develop better tools to do so? But our common goal and our common interest is in delivering new drugs to patients to improve the treatment of diseases. And this is the key of our project. Some words regarding IP, because this is a kind of an area that is heavily discussed. In safety, we started this dialogue very early, and we made definitions for IP that are different for biomarkers and for technology. And the definitions are then for the research use of a biomarker and also for the exploitation of biomarkers. And we agreed on an IP strategy that all partners approved, and the project agreement was then signed in June. I also wanted to kind of give some words of advice to this audience. My first advice is, please study the call text very, very carefully, because all the components that are taken up in the call text are expected to be met from the expression of interest. So don't just pick up certain things you are interested in. All components need to be addressed. The second is there are small differences from the IMI joint undertaking projects compared to the normal Framework 7. In this, project coordination typically is within the EFPA representative, and then the application and consortium formation process is a bit different, but we already heard about that. And the primary goal is not just to perform cutting-edge research for the purpose of research, but to achieve the stated objectives of the call. Another area which I think requires some consideration is how many members to include into a consortium. It must be manageable, and it must be possible to work together. And also applicants, that you should not underestimate the time that is required to prepare the expression of interest. And if the deadline is in February, I think you better start already tomorrow. Some personal reflections. Personally, I'm quite convinced that the IMI setting is a way to improve our possibility to develop better drugs for patients. If we have the courage to focus on the questions which are important to us and which we share. And for me personally, as a scientist, I think we should see the interaction as pharma as a great opportunity, and also to reach broad consensus on new safety biomarkers in the setting of a large consortium with 22 partners and our regulators as advisors. The focus on the common goal is important, that we keep that in our mind all the time. We work to get new medicines to patients and also to improve our understanding of the molecular mechanisms of drug-induced injuries. And we all should also recognize the power of the setup of the IMI, that we have a fantastic opportunity to work across borderlines. We have preclinical research combined with clinical research. We have experts in our project on assay development, on database development. We have an enormous competence within the framework of our project. We have a budget that allows us to work, and we also can use this cross-fertilization between industry, academia, SMEs, and regulators. And I want to finish my talk with 2 words of wisdom. And the first is, as I'm a painter myself, I want to cite a very famous Swedish artist, which is Isak Grünewald. He used to say that if I get the moment of time over, I start working. And I think that symbolizes a little bit the way we work in IMI, because many of us do this with great enthusiasm, but we do it on top of our day-to-day work. And that creates a special feeling and a special enthusiasm, and I hope we can keep that alive. And my second word of wisdom is a kind of very timely now in November 2009. And I would like to ask Professor Goldman to tear down the walls. Thank you for your attention.